What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome back to another AC showcase, and this is my go-to reverse joint build, the Silver Streaker. Now, if you watched the PvP showcase back before launch, you may have seen me use something very similar to this. This is a pretty balanced build that revolves around plasma rifles as well as plasma missiles. Does a lot of AoE damage, so it performs very well in 3v3, but it's also completely viable as a PvE approach. Plasma rifles in particular are one of my favorite PvE weapons. They just put out a ton of damage on targets, especially with the AoE and the incredibly long range they have. So let's jump in and talk about this build. Now, as for our units, we're going to be working with the Nebula Plasma Rifle. This is actually found on a chest in the Tunnel Sabotage mission. I already have a short about that up on the channel, but the mission itself, I don't want to spoil it, so we're not going to actually do that mission during this episode. If you don't have access to this, you can certainly use the regular Plasma Rifle, but one of the things I really like about the Nebula here is the regular Plasma Rifle, and it's kind of hard to see here, but it's actually a triple beam that this thing fires out. So there's 3 distinct beams, and it's a little bit harder to hit targets that are far away. Comparing the stats on it, you can see it actually has better attack power, impact, and accumulative, but the Nebula is better with charged attacks and, more importantly, the rapid fire. The Nebula's rapid fire is all the way down. It's double the speed, 1.5 versus 0.1 or 0.7. So looking at the Nebula here, one of the really nice things is obviously the charge attack's higher, but the charge attack itself is actually just one big massive AoE. And so this puts out a ton of damage, really helps to kind of just wipe out trash as you're playing the game. Wipes out a ton of enemies. Very, very strong weapon with relatively moderate requirements. So we are rocking double Nebulas. As for our back units, we're going to rock the 3-cell plasma missile launcher, and then the 6-cell plasma missile launcher. I would like to run 2 6s, but that is going to overburden us, so we're just going to get by with a 3 and a 6. If you want, you could use the vertical plasma. Personally, I'm not as big of a fan of that, but the plasma missiles, similar to the fact with the plasma guns, it has that AoE, and that AoE is just going to help us constantly be tickling the enemy for damage. This isn't a build that puts out crazy amounts of burst incredibly fast like the Thunderstorm build, but this build performs instead by just doing consistently strong damage and constant damage really over the duration of the fight, making it a very strong arena type build as well as viable in PvE just because of the damage potential of it. Another thing to keep in mind here is with these particular weapons, with the plasma rifles in general, they actually have an insane effective range up at 460. So you can even just free fire these things and hit something that's very far away, take out helicopters in one hit, take down MTs in one hit. All in all, they are just fantastic. Now moving on to our gear. With the head, I'm running the Varel head. This is just an all-around extremely solid piece. It has good stability, it has good AP, and it has good kinetics. Comparing it to something like the Basho, we're going to have a little bit more AP, but we're obviously losing a ton of stability on that. And you can see just in general, it's a very well-rounded piece. Right here with the Home Wrecker, more AP, once again, stability hit. And so I just find this to be a solid all-rounder piece. Moving on to the core, Mind Alpha, another very solid piece that doesn't have too much in terms of weight, but we have decent AP, decent defenses, relatively good stability, and then decent generator and booster adjustment stats, which is really nice with the reverse joint because we're going to be moving constantly. So something like this actually works out pretty well for us. For the arms, we're working with the Melander C3. I believe this is the pre-order gloves. The biggest thing here is just having a little bit of firearm specialization. So even if you don't have these, I mean, you could run the VPs, the Albas, the Nox, you could, Fermeza, Amphera. Any of these things are going to be fine. We just don't really want our firearm specialization going too low because even though we're bouncing around, that accuracy is going to matter. The Ephemera is actually looking more at this. That's really nice, but I think I'll keep the firearm specialization I got. As for the legs, the Mind Beta, if I remember, these are unlocked from doing combat logs, and I really like these. They don't have the raw defense of the Spring Chicken, but they are a little bit jumpier. You can see our jump distance on these is going to be a little bit higher. And on top of that, if we look over at the stats, we can see boost speed, quick boost reload time. All that is going to suffer with the Spring Chicken. Whereas over here, a lot of that stuff would be better, but our load is going to be significantly lower with the Kosser. So the Mind Beta is a really nice in-between, I find. As for the boosters, we're pulling the Alulat back out. Just in general, this is a really solid booster all around. I mean, honestly, the fact that we have high thrust as well as high quick boost thrust on this makes it a really go-to choice on just pretty much any build. You can't really go wrong with this. As for the FCS, we are working with the G2P05. It's going to be 80 on medium range assist, and then a little bit of close and a little bit of long. We also have missile correction on here, which is nice because we have missiles. And keep in mind, when it comes to assists, the medium range is going to be 130 to 260, which is probably going to be the range you're in when you're jumping all over the place. But since we are jumping all over, a target might be within 130, or they might be beyond 260. So this is a pretty balanced piece. Comparing this to a lot of the other FCSs, not many of them have the relatively balanced breakdown that we have here. You know, you could go something like this, get a little more long range, lots of long range. But anyway, all in all, I think this is a good bet for the build. Lastly, the generator, the VE-20C. Now, one of the big reasons for this is the energy firearm specialization. We could go higher with the 20B, but we're not going to be able to hit that energy load. So we settle on the 20C, still gives us a 128, and keep in mind, this is going to impact our attack power as well as the charging time of our weapon, making it a very solid pickup with an energy-focused build. Of course, keep in mind, this doesn't affect the plasma missiles. I just honestly really like the plasma missiles with this build because it's just more plasma. Moving over to expansion slot, I personally prefer assault armor here, but you could definitely run pulse or terminal or whatever you're vibing with. In general, I find assault armor to be really good. If there's not a particular one I need, I'm generally going to go for assault. With all that being said, though, let's jump in. We're going to do a mission with it, show you what it's capable of. Still going to be keeping things relatively early. Let's do, we'll do the dam complex. It's a pretty quick mission. We can kind of burst through this, and as opposed to just you know, straight beasting through and destroying the mission, we're actually going to kill a lot of the units we encounter, because this build does really well when it comes to fighting multitudes of enemies because of the AoE nature of our weaponry. So in general, I like to have one that's usually charged up, and then I'll have another one that I focus more on the single target hit with. You can see just how big that AoE is. And even then, just a single shot with this is usually going to be enough to take out a target. The MTs are going to go down very easily against this. And what's really nice here is we're basically just jumping up into the air, and then we are just popping stuff off. Very nice being able to just, you know, shoot up in the air, fire that one shot, something that's a little bit farther. Let's see, boom, down it goes.
vultures. The Rubiconians will never yield. You're going home in armored coffins. Forged in ash, we stand as one.
Honestly, I just love how effective this stuff is. You can see decent damage there with the charged attacks, but alternatively, we can just kind of bounce around on the target. We're just right above it, just jumping, bunny hopping all over the place, and just absolutely pelting it with that plasma damage. You can see that plasma, even if they move a little bit, that AoE is still helping us to cook them. Okay, well, didn't mean to get an S rank, but I guess when you kill pretty much everything on the level, it's going to give it to you anyway. But yeah, like I said, very, very potent in very, very potent in terms of just the AoE potential on this. It's able to just, those plasma blasts, man, they really clean house. So let's jump in. We're gonna find a custom match, see if we can't find a team game. Team is, I don't know, I just like team matches. 10 minutes, that's a little long. 10, 7, 5. Go for the 5-minute match is a good good in between. Got a zippy tank, heavy reverse joint, light reverse joint. Against the light reverse joint, medium. Nope, light, and medium. All right, well, we got the team speedsters over here. Let's see if we can pull it off. Keep in mind, a big thing with reverse joints is you're constantly jumping. You're looking to bunny hop pretty much perpetually. We always want to be jumping up into the air over and over again, because even if they're trying to stay with us, one of the big benefits of all that constant leaping is we're forcing the enemy's FCS to go up and down and try to keep up with us. And that's the real advantage of having a lightweight build here, is in general, targets are going to have a harder time tracking us than they would something like a biped. In general, I'm going to try and target enemies that are on the ground, just because that's where I'm really going to get that hit in. I'm going to get that AoE with the plasma. Big hits in there. Since I'm running out of ammo anyway very shortly here, we're going really heavy on the charge shots here. I was wondering. I was like, man, when am I gonna go down here? I'm just surviving forever. I'm out of ammo. Kill me already. Oh no. Oh, they're coming hard on me this time. Ooh. And I can tell they want me. Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. Should have kept my mouth shut. I don't think anybody else is gonna die. Oh wow, no, the guy on our team was on the verge. That was close. Alright, so nice win there. 712, excuse me, can't read. 712 points, pretty good performance. And like I said, that's the neat thing about this build, is when we're actually in the fray, you know, we're not blowing stuff up with crazy amounts of burst like the Thunderstorm build was, and we're not sitting there and, you know, setting stuff up for like a giant hit like the pile bunker like our first build was. But this build is very consistent. It puts out a lot of damage, and especially if you want a lightweight playstyle, this thing packs a punch for how incredibly quick it is. So definitely a really enjoyable style of play. But as with all the builds, we see data. Let's go upload, and there we go. Code for Silver Streaker is now shared. As always, it'll be in the description. Thanks for coming by, and next time I'll catch y'all with a tank build.